Welcome to Evolve and Thrive, the home of practical soul-empowered living and business. This is Victoria Merrihart, expansive shaman and businesswoman. So before we go on, let me ask you a quick question. Have you, like so many of us, become frustrated trying to thrive and to create a purpose-filled life? And has it become difficult to even believe that it is possible to actually create a better world? Well, trust me, we can, and this is how. We all hold a hidden power, a magic that is an integral part of who we are. We all have the ability to access and integrate the power and wisdom of our souls. When we do this, we bring in expansive energies, abilities, and ideas right here in this life, ready to integrate into our practical day-to-day living. So join me here as we explore the how, what, and why a soul-empowered living and business, creating lives that we love to live. Today we're going to look at empowerment for a very special group of individuals in our world. You and I, we're a part of this group. Visionaries, creatives, and change makers, we may well be the greatest hope for the future. We hold ideas, understanding, and inspiration for progressive and beautiful ways of living, producing, and being. Honestly, I think we are bringing in forward evolution and consciousness. And then on the flip side, ironically or sadly, even though we carry these important gifts, our ways of living and operating are often not well supported and or not too easy. So let's explore the special challenges and advantages to our living and the huge advantage that soul empowerment can bring us. As is mentioned in the intro, we all hold a special magic that can support and empower us to live better lives as we work to help create a better world. Soul empowerment can bring clarity, clear blocks, and enhance our paths. This is a subject that is near and dear to my heart, and I'm just so excited to be talking about it here today. Thank you for letting me share. So let's go on. As visionaries, creatives, and/or change makers, we hold unique perspectives and are probably driven by a deep urge to act and create. From my perspective, this comes from flashes of our soul's inspiration, maybe even our sole purpose for this lifetime. Most likely, that which drives us comes from a place outside of what would we call it, the standard grids of our culture. We, as visionaries, creatives, and change makers, foresee new and creative endeavors, better ways maybe to produce what we need in order to manage our lives or even to create dramatic change in our world. These can be simple, like a better way to bake bread, a move to sustainability through better ways of production or simplified living, inspired parenting, inspirational expressive works of art, practicing powerful ancient healing arts, or even groundbreaking world-shaping advances. Carrying a gift like this can be such a blessing as it gives deep meaning to our lives. And on the other hand, when we struggle to manifest these dreams, the same inner drive can work to increase our frustration and even to feel like a burden. Being a visionary or a change maker seems to require almost superhuman strength and focus. While most people are following the stream of humanity around them, working for and within the standard system, we are often swimming upstream, right? While often living within the world we were born into, we have this dichotomy of living within it, but we're also trying to create new visions or changes in the flow. So living within it at the same time that maybe we're trying to live differently and to create change. Sometimes this can even feel like Sisyphus pushing that heavy boulder up a hill for eternity. We could get stretched by the burden of living a human existence, striving to keep our heads above water with life's demands, while also trying to manifest our dreams and create the visionary changes that we know are possible. More often than not, also, we have another job, just keeping a roof over our heads and food on the table, while we pursue our visions. In pursuing my own creative endeavors in non-standard life, as well as helping others that are doing the same, I've become really fascinated with people that are the most successful and then with what holds other people back. It doesn't seem to me the strength of their dream or the power of their creativity, something within. When we see people that have managed to manifest their creations and even earn a living doing it, there's one thing they seem to have in common. They hold an absolute belief in what they do, no self-doubt, deep enthusiasm, and the fortitude to stand in their truth even against opposition. If we are facing fear, doubt, or are simply drained by the struggle to manifest our dreams, the struggle and frustration can get even stronger, blocking our way. What steps can we take to get more of that confidence and empowerment drive that they have? So let's delve into this a little further. Soul connection and empowerment can make a huge difference in two ways. One is recovery from soul loss, as discussed in the last podcast. Hidden soul loss can block us from having the strength, fortitude, self-value, and belief to accomplish our visions. Constant struggle with our personal issues can hold us down. We've all felt that place where it keeps us from excelling. Then on the flip side, once we have reclaimed our soul and moved through these blocks, a strong soul connection can be an ever-present source of inspiration, wisdom, and confidence to believe in ourselves. Soul empowerment gives us a constant well of inspiration and wisdom to move forward. With an integrated soul connection, we have access to that part of oneself that is driving this inspiration and access to that true force that we are. If a creative impulse is authentic to you, then deep within you have the power to bring it into manifestation. You may be operating as a powerful force that stands alone, or as a quiet creative at home in your studio, or as a collaborator in a team. If that dream is welling up from within, then you have what it takes to activate it in your specific and unique way. Is the force of a deep dream of purpose welling up from within you and shifting your life from the ordinary to unexpected? Before the end, I'm going to tell you a little about my own path in this direction, from a disempowered and depressed change maker to doing this work right here, right now, hoping to help show a little light on the process and help you on your path. Obviously, if you're listening here, there's a good chance that you're already on a spiritual path of some sort and or have done healing work. However, here, this is beyond that. The trick here is soul re-empowerment and a conscious, constant access and integration of your higher power and wisdom into your everyday life. If you're still with me, you have most likely self-identified yourself as a visionary, a creative, and or a change maker seeking a thriving and fulfilling life. So let's look at the pros and cons of being visionary change makers and then how to release some of the cons and empower the pros. The benefits of being a visionary change maker. It'd be pretty hard not to recognize that this world of ours is in trouble. We know that our ways of living and being are not sustainable and at times simply inhumane. People living without vision or a sense of soul purpose and drive can face this with a great deal of despair and denial. Whereas as visionaries, we can see the potential, and as agents of change, we know that rebirth is possible. May be difficult, may not always be obvious on the surface, but we know deep down in our hearts that it is possible. And knowing that we hold something precious within, then it can enlighten and make a difference in our world, can fill our hearts and give us a window of hope. Whether we know that our gifts can help to lighten the load on our earth, heal people and animals, create hope and vision through the arts, or even if we are still seeking the exact form our gifts take, we know that we have something special to offer and that there is hope. There is hope, especially when we all start working together. Okay, now for the woes of being a visionary change maker, most of which you already know. You're all probably already thinking about this as I was talking about the pros. This very same vision that gives us an even sharper, forward-reaching perspective for hope also gives us a perspective on the harm that we're creating as a human race. And we have hearts that care. The very inner soul connection that pushes us to want to make a difference can also open us to fully feel, see, know the pain in our own lives as well as those in the world around us. As visionaries, we can find it very difficult to be satisfied living ordinary lives. We can be driven at almost any cost to make a difference. And what is the most difficult for many of us is that we have to find a way to manage ordinary life requirements: food, housing, sleep, family, health, and the list goes on, while also working for our vision and change. We carry a double, triple, whatever load. I have yet to meet a visionary or an agent of change that does not have moments when they just want to be normal. To you, I've had plenty of them. We cry, why can't I just hold a regular job, buy a house, go on fancy vacations, and save for a lovely golf-filled retirement, like I see other people do? It would be so much easier to just shut my eyes to the world and live an ordinary existence. Well, part of your psyche might be saying that, but then at the same time, we know that this sort of life would not be fulfilling and that inner voice would just keep screaming at us. I hate to say it, but there's probably no escape. We are not ordinary. As visionaries, creatives, and change makers, even if we manage to hide for a while, the truth will come through. Our soul gifts and visions are pushing through to be expressed. So let's clear the veil and consciously integrate our lifetime skills, desires, and abilities with our incredible soul power, wisdom, and grace. This will enable us to find that place of inner peace and connection, becoming our fully realized selves as we access the power and knowledge to succeed. All right, so we're all on this path. I said I would share a little bit of my story just to highlight this process. If you don't already know my story, I'm just going to offer a short summary of a relevant part. I'm always happy to share more when it serves others on this road. My story. I believe that I was born into this world as a shaman. As a young child, I was communicating with nature, predicting danger, knowing what people were feeling, and even as a small child, knowing that I could help them. But I was born into this intellectual, rational family. I was plain and simply told that I was wrong and at times shamed for who and what I was. So to try and fit in and be an accepted member of my family, I shut down that most precious part of myself. I forced myself through an education in economics, work in corporate and small business, conventional marriage and motherhood, always fighting extreme self-doubt and a constant sub-level of depression. Except, of course, for that little part of motherhood. Sharing this world with my son has always been a joy. I just had to throw that in there. So why was life so darn hard? Of course, we all know the answer to that, right? I had shut out my most intrinsic power, my soul gifts, and the truth of who I am. I was living a life that wasn't mine. Keeping the lid on my inner drive was really a difficult process. In my 40s, my soul messages got stronger and stronger, and life, of course, became more and more difficult. Finally, I found my way into soul retrieval healing and then shamanic training and private practice. The blocks and barriers that I had created to suppress this truth needed to be broken down and cleared out for this emergence. I won't pretend that this was easy, but oh, the results have been wonderful. Now I am who I was born to be, and I'm fulfilling my path as a support for those visionaries, creators, and change makers emerging in their soul gifts. Just one little fun caveat. During the years when I was really starting to emerge, my son went away to college, and when he would come back to visit, one day he just looked at me and goes, Mom, every time I see you, you're younger and happier. So what middle-aged mom wouldn't love to hear that? Good part of my journey. I was so much like most of Western society, like many of you. While our soul truth that is an intrinsic part of who we are, for most of Western society, access to and support for this truth is primarily shut down, often mistrusted and denied. We might have momentary glimpses that spur us on, but then leave us adrift when we lose the connection or do not understand what's happening. Where did this come from? Are we losing it? So what can we do about it? We have all received at least some level of a training in enhancing and using our minds, our bodies, and our personalities. But what about our souls and the higher truth and power? The soul is usually relegated to the esoteric, the religious. The power to connect is believed to be held by religious spiritual leaders in all shapes and sizes. This elusive aspect of self is looked at as superfluous to our worldly lives. This simply is not true. These higher aspects of ourselves are an essential and even practical part of us and who and what we are right here, right now. And yet our access can be primarily shut down. I want you to stop and think about this for a minute. Imagine if you only had the use of your arms at brief moments of prayer or meditation, and then suddenly it was gone. How hard would you work to reclaim the use of your arms into your life all the time in every aspect of your life? Well, the soul is really no different. It is a powerful aspect of us that we need to live fully as who we are. This can be done. I have walked through this myself and guided many to the same experience. In the last episode, episode 2, I offered self-driven steps that you can take on this road to soul recovery. You can gain access to that recording and free tools on my website on Evolve and Thrive or on your podcast listing. Before we move on, I want to ask for your input and ideas. This is a new and evolving podcast. I would really love to hear from people that are living through the shift to a soul-driven life, struggling with manifesting that soul-driven life, and any questions or issues you might have. I'm also interested in talking to people that offer services that help others in this healing and expansive process. Want to hear from you both for your input, but also with the intention of future episodes involving interviews and question and answer sessions, expanding the perspective and view of this podcast. If you've got something to say, you can contact me through the comment section of the podcast or through my website. And again, that is evolveandthrive.com. Thank you for listening today, and our next episode will be on the special needs and possible pitfalls for soul-inspired businesses. That's it for today, and may the power of your soul be with you on this journey. Thank you.